All right, Shabbos, say good morning. Today's daf is Mem Dalid 44. We are picking up Mem Gimel Amud Beis 43b, 5 lines up from the bottom. V'chein bebein o bebas. So I just want to give a very special yashar koach to Yehuda Newberger for giving the shir over the last week. Although he did get one daf of beautiful Agadata, the one daf of Agadata is when I'm gone, which was a good. Yeah, I know. So he definitely. He did his time. So a tremendous yashar koach to him for the beautiful shiurim, some of which I had the chus to listen to as well. And we'll pick up today. So v'chein bebein o bebas. So we'll remember again the Mishnah speaking about the topic of kofer. And the topic of kofer, so the halacha was that in the event that the shar goes out and kills someone, so you have to pay what we call a kofer, an atonement payment. So the Mishnah also paskin that if Ruvain's shar goes ahead and kills a bein obas, now bein obas refers to dafka over here, minors. So if the shar goes ahead and kills a minor boy or minor girl, the halacha is that the owner has to pay kofer. Fine. So the Gemara says, not only that, by the way, one additional piece. Let me clarify one piece. Remember, the din of kofer is only by a shar that's muad. Right? However, again, any shar that kills a person, whether the shar is tam or muad, the shar is executed. So the Mishnah statement of v'chein bebein o bebas has a twofold meaning. Number one, that the shar is executed for killing someone, and number two, if the shar is a muad, so ultimately the owner of the shar pays kofer. Tan Rabbanan, o beinigach o basigach. So remember, the Gemara now says, the pasuk says, "O ben yigach o basigach." So here, the pasuk seems to say it explicitly that even if the shar gores and kills a boy or a girl ketanim, so the halacha is l'chayiv ala ketanim kigidolim. Torah comes to tell the owner of the shar that he is responsible if his shar kills minors, just as if it killed adults. V'halo dinu, says the Gemara, but is this not a kavachomer? Hoil v'chayiv adam ba'adam. The chayiv shar ba'adam. So we'll say, so here's the kal v'chomer. If a person is responsible for damages or for death that he visits upon another, and a shar is responsible for damages that it does to a person, adam over here means an adult. Ma kishechayiv adam ba'adam lo shna bein ketan legidolim. When a person damages another person, it makes no difference if the damager damaged someone who was an adult or was a child. So we'll say, so too when a shar damages someone, you should make no distinction whether or not the damaged party is an adult or a child. So we'll say, here's the kal v'chomer. So ultimately, again, if a shar is, if a person is responsible for damaging another person, a shar is responsible for damaging a person as well. Just like when a person damages another person, it makes no difference if the damaged party is an adult or a child. So too when the shar damages someone, it makes no difference if the damaged party is an adult or a child, but rather, again, the owner of the shar will be chayiv. Va'od, kal v'chomer. Furthermore, again, the Gemara says it's a right. So too, when a shar damages a person, you should make no distinction. Ultimately, again, between ketanim and gidolim, between minors and adults. So the Gemara says va'od kal v'chomer. Furthermore, again, the Gemara says there's a kal v'chomer uma adam be'adam shelo asabo ketanim kigidolim chayiv. Listen to this kal v'chomer. When it comes to a person who damages another person, lo asa bo ketanim kigidolim. What does this mean? We have not made children like adults. Now, what does that mean? Take a look at Rashi. Rashi says over here, ma adam ba'adam shelo asa. Rotseach katan kigadol d'chsiv v'ish kiyake ish v'lo katan. So we'll say, so the halach is the following. You know that when it comes to if a person perpetrates a crime, so the halacha is not the same if the perpetrator is a minor versus the perpetrator is an adult. If a child kills someone, so the halacha is that the child ultimately is pater, as opposed to if an adult kills someone, the adult is chayiv for the crime that was committed. So that's what it means. Uma adam ba'adam. So when it comes to a person damaging another person, shalo asabo kitanim kigidolim, you did not make a katan, a child, like an adult. Yet, so again, remember, if the perpetrator, you only chayiv if the perpetrator is an adult. Yet, chayiv b'ala kitanim kigidolim. Yet, when it comes to the victim, it makes no difference if the victim is an adult or a child. the perpetrator is chayiv, top of memdal. So we'll say, see, this is the first part of the Kal V'chomer. When it comes to people damaging people, so the halacha is, when if the damager is an adult, you're chayiv. If the damager is a child, you're pater. And yet, but that's only with the perpetrator. But when it comes to the victim, no matter who the victim is, the perpetrator is chayiv. Whether ultimately the victim is an adult or a child, you're chayiv. Top of memdal. Shar ba'adam. But also when it comes to a shar that damages a person, sha'asa bo kitanin kigedolim, where ultimately we go ahead and we equate kitan and kigedolim, we equate a minor like an adult. Now listen, what does that mean? Look at Rashi. Rashi says, shar ba'adam, shar katan hahorek kishar gadol hahorek, the hashar ben yomo kare shar dechsiv, shar okesef ki valei. So this is interesting. When it comes to a shar, when it comes to an axe, there's no distinction. Good morning, Mr. Schoenfeld. There's no distinction. Thank you. There's no distinction between the age of the shar. A shar is a shar is a shar. So if a shar that's 1 day old goes ahead and damages someone, both sides, there's no distinction between that shar. I don't know how shar year works. I don't know if shar years are like dog years. Whatever it is, a 2-year-old shar is no different than a 1 day old shar. So we'll say, so when it comes to a shar ba'adam, sha'as bo kitani kigidolim, whether the shar is quote unquote a minor, a young shar, or an old shar, makes no difference. Eino din shechayiv ala kitani kigidolim. And certainly again, when the shar damages, it should be chayav whether it damages human beings who are adults or minors. So we'll see that Kal V'chomer. So again, when it comes to a person who only if the perpetrator is an adult are you chayiv, if the perpetrator is a minor you're pater. But yet when the perpetrator is an adult, he's chayiv for all types of victims, both adults and children. A shar who is chayiv when it does damage, whether it's a child, quote unquote, or whether it's an adult, will certainly be chayiv for people when it damages, whether those people who it damaged are minors or adults. To which the Gemara says, "Lo, maybe that Kal V'chomer doesn't work." Im amret adam ba'adam shekin chayiv ba'arba adam. So we'll say when you speak about damages that people visit upon other people. So remember again, in those cases we'll say chayiv for daled dvarim. Spoken extensively about daled dvarim. Whenever a person whenever you damage someone, there's always a discussion of nezek. Nezek means damages, but in addition, remember there's also shebes, ripui, tsar, and boshes. So we'll get into those discussions a little bit more extensively. But the Gemara says perhaps you can't compare the two cases because when a person damages another person, they're always chayiv daled dvarim. Tomar b'shar she'enu chayiv b'daled dvarim. So all the Gemara is just simply saying is you're trying to make a Kal V'chomer by comparing shar to adam. Right? That's what you're trying to do over here. You're trying to go ahead and say, just like Adam is chayiv, whether or not he damages children, minors or adults, essentially so too shar should be chayiv, whether or not it damages children or adults or children. To which the Gemara just says, I just want to point out, who's to say you could actually make a comparison between shar and Adam? Why? Because Adam has a chumrah. What's the chumrah of Adam? That whenever a person damages another person, you're going to be chayiv for dalit dvarim. You're going to be chayiv ultimately again for additional categories of damages. Maybe because of that, therefore Adam is more chamer, and because Adam is more chamer, therefore you can't make the Kal V'chomer. To which the Gemara says, Talmud lomar o ben yigach o bas yigach. Therefore the Gemara says you're right. At the end of the day, we remember again. I will say we're working on a very central piece over here, which is the idea that if whether a shar damages an adult or a child, ultimately again the owner of the shar will be chayiv. So the Gemara wanted to suggest that we're learning that out from a Kal V'chomer. The Gemara now explains that we see the Kal V'chomer again can't really stand up because there's a pircha on the Kal V'chomer. Therefore, says the Gemara, where do we learn out the halacha that the owner of a shar is chayiv, whether or not his shar damages people or his shar damages adults or children? Because the pasuk Talmud lomar o ben yigach o bas yigach, that you're chayiv ultimately again for the goring of a ben means a boy, a minor, or a bas. The chayiv alektanim kegedolim. So we'll say again, ultimately to teach us that the owner of the shar is chayiv, whether or not his shar damages adults or his shar damages children. Now I know what you're thinking to yourself. You're saying to yourself, first saying, what's going on over here? And then after that, what you're saying to yourself is, I don't understand. If we had the pasuk the whole time, so why are we going through all this exercise trying to Kal V'chomer? Remember, we know that the Gemara always loves to try to prove something first through exegetical means. Whatever we could prove ultimately, again, through our own, we'll call it intellectual revelations, the Gemara always feels is superior to just relying on a pasuk. It's an incredible yesod in general about how things that you're able to achieve after effort, like we spoke about in Zrizos, things that you're able to achieve after effort are always more meaningful than things that simply are handed to you. But yet, when the Kal V'chomer fails, so the Gemara says, okay, we have the pasuk. So the Gemara says, but 1 second, the Ein Li Ela B'Muadim. Now remember, that pasuk of Oben Yigach or Bas Yigach is talking about a shor that's muad. Sure, that's muad. So I now know from the pasuk that a shor that's muad is going to be chayiv if it gores a children, a minor. How do I know? How do I know that this applies? Even if the shor is a tam, to which the Gemara says, dinhu. This is a kal v'chomer. Hoil v'chayev b'ish v'isha. Since ultimately what? Since the shor is chayev, whether or not it gores an adult. Isha means adults. V'chayev ben obas, and the shor is also chayev if it gores children. Ma kishechayev b'ish v'isha lo chilakta bein tam lemuad. So both say, when you have a shor that gores a person, an adult, the shor is chayiv whether or not it's a tam or a muad. Now granted, again, the shor ultimately, again, look at Rashi for just a moment. Rashi says over here, lo chilakta bein tam lemuad li'inyan skila. Meaning both say, if you have a shor that killed an adult, so what's the halach? Remember we spoke about before. Any shor that kills someone, whether that shor is a tam or a muad, is going to be chayiv skila. The only time where tam and muad makes a difference is where? Good, kofer, right? Meaning kofer, if the shor is a muad, then ultimately again, you pay kofer. If the shor is a tam, then there is no kofer. So again, look, this is what the Gemara is saying over here. When it comes, just like when a shor gores a person, or when we say gore, we're talking about killing. If the shor killed an an adult, lo chilakta bein tam lemuad, that shor is put to death. Whether that shor is a tam or a muad, af kishechayiv ben ubas. So too, once we acknowledge that a shor is chayiv, when it gores a child, lo tachlok bo bein tam lemuad. Ultimately, again, one should not make a distinction between tam and muad, and therefore, again, the shor will be chayiv whether it's a tam or whether it's a muad if it kills children. So, we'll say again, remember, just follow the progression over here. What we've established so far is we have a pasuk to teach us that if the shor is a muad and it gores children, that it's chayiv. That if it kills the children, you put the shor to death. However, the Gemara is pointing out that pasuk is only talking about a muad. How do I know that it's also put to death if it kills children, even if it's only a tam? To which the Gemara essentially says, dinhu. Dinhu, Rabbosai, ultimately means, essentially it's a mematzinu. Dinhu means it's a comparison that ultimately, again, we see that when a shor kills adults, there's no distinction whether the shor is a tam or a muad. That shor is put to death if it kills adults. So too, we will make the same assumption that when a shor kills children, chas v'shalom, ultimately there's no distinction whether the shor is a tam or a muad, but it is executed for that act of bloodshed. V'od kal v'chomer. Furthermore, the Gemara says there's also kal v'chomer. What's the kal v'chomer? Ma ish v'isha shekein hora kocham b'nizakin. Listen to this. When it comes to a man and woman, adults, that their shekein hora kocham b'nizakin also means that they're at a disadvantage when it comes to the laws of damages. What does that mean? That they're at a disadvantage from the law of damages. Look at Rashi. Shar b'nizakin she'im dim hiziku mishalm. Both say when adults do damage, they have to pay. Remember again, we learned the principle that's what? Adam muad li'olam. A person is always responsible for any damages that he's done. So when it comes to a person, an adult, who's already at a disadvantage with damages, meaning that he's chayav for all damages that he's caused, lo chilakta bo bein tam lemuad. You make no distinction, ultimately, again, between a tam and a muad. Rashi says over here, I'm sorry, no Rashi yet. So, bein ubas sheyafa kolcham benizakin. But when it comes to children who are at an advantage when it comes to damages, what's the advantage that children have when it comes to damages? They're both saying, what's the advantage? They're not chayiv. Right? Remember, if a child does damages, we'll actually get into this. There's a whole interesting discussion about parental liability for damage caused by children. By the way, this is meisim b'chol yom. Right? My child's playing ball and hits the ball into the neighbor's window, cracks the window. Do I, as parent, have a liability for that damage? We'll get into that. But one thing is clear, which is what? The child does not. So when it comes to children, shiyafa kocham b'nizakin, enol din shlo tachol bein tam lemuad. So we'll see here what the Gemara is saying over here. Here's the kal v'chomer. If when it comes to adults who who are chayiv for all damages. So ultimately, again, the bala shar is going to be chayiv, whether the shar is tam or muad. Children who have an advantage when it comes to damages that they're not chayiv, certainly again the shar should be chayiv when it does something to them, whether the shar is tam or muad. So the Gemara says, 1 second. V'chidanin kal v'chomer mechamer lahachmir alav. So we'll say, do we ever make a kal v'chomer where the one that is kal will essentially become more chomer than the original chomer item? In other words, what we started over here is with adults who ultimately, again, are chayiv for their damages, and therefore, again, when a shor damages them, whether that shor is tam or muad, the shor will be chayiv for those damages as well. We want to say, based on that a child who is not chayiv for its damages, just shor that damages them, should also be chayiv whether the shor is a tam or a muad. We'll say, if that's true, then it turns out that children effectively become more chomer than adults. Because what it means is, they could damage anyone they want and never be chayiv, and yet anyone or anything that damages them will be chayiv. So the kal v'chomer over here would essentially make the item that originally was kal more lenient, more chomer than the actual chomer item. Do we ever make a kal v'chomer like that? Im hichmir b'muad hachomer tachmir b'tam hakal. If we're machmir in a case of muad that is normally more chomer, should we be machmir ultimately with the tam? Va'od, furthermore, im amrit v'ish v'isha shekein chayav and b'mitzvahs. Furthermore, I will say, maybe you'll say, the reason why, whether a shar is tam or muad, it's going to be chayav if it kills the person, an adult is why? Because they're chayav and b'mitzvahs. Because we'll say, maybe an adult has a value, an additional value, because there's a chayav of mitzvahs. Tomar bebenu bas, sheptur min ha-mitzvahs. But ultimately, maybe the shar that's not a muad, maybe the shar that's a tam, should not be chayiv for killing a child. Why? Because that child wasn't chayiv in mitzvahs. So we'll say, by the way, just before we go on, do you see that incredible havamina there? The havamina of the Gemara is an amazing yesod. The value of life is not simply defined by organic existence. The value of life, the Gemara suggests over here in a very fleeting havamina, is defined by mitzvos. Meaning, you understand this havamina. The havamina over here is that maybe the halachos of nezikin should be different by a child versus an adult. Why? Because when a shar kills an adult, you're killing someone who had the capacity to perform mitzvos. Masha'inkein, when the shar kills a child, as tragic as that is, a child is not chayiv in mitzvos. Therefore, again, the Gemara actually, it's a havamina. The Gemara posits, maybe that life is worth less. It's an incredible havamina, that what gives life meaning? What gives life meaning? What gives life meaning is spirituality. What gives life meaning is avodas Hashem. What gives life meaning is mitzvos. And if a person doesn't have that, the havamina is that maybe that life is not as purposeful. That life, maybe in the laws of nezikin, is not measured the same. An incredible idea. But the Gemara says, Talmud Lomar, O ben yigach o bas yigach. There, the Gemara comes back and says, no, we learn everything out of the pasuk. The pasuk says whether the shar gores a ben, a boy, minor, o bas, girl, minor, negicha betam, negicha bemuad, negicha lemisa, negicha lenizokin. So we'll say ultimately the Gemara says everything. So bottom line, very simple bottom line. We can't learn anything out of a kal v'chomer. We can't learn anything out of a mamatzino. None of them work. But the good news is we have a pasuk. And the Gemara understands that the drasha of the pasuk of Oben Yigach Ubas Yigach teaches us that ultimately at the end of the day, whether my shor gores an adult, which is obvious, that's stated in the pasuk, or ben or bas, or a child, I am chayiv for the damages ultimately, again, that my shar visits upon minors, whether that damage is in the form of damages, nezikin, or whether those damages are in the form of chas v'shalom resulting in death, I am chayiv ultimately, again, for anything my shar does to minors as well. Good. We close out that sugya. Weiter. Shorsh Mishnah. Shorshay mischachich b'kosam. So we'll say this is and we actually made reference to this case a little bit earlier on in Bava Kamma. A shar that was scratching itself, rubbing itself against the wall. Now remember, this is a case over here of what? What type of shame, right? This is what it sounds like. Remember, again, this is going to talk about damage done over here in the course of the pursuit of pleasurable activity. So the shar has an itch, and it's rubbing itself against the wall. What happens? V'nafa ala adam. And ultimately, again, the wall falls on a person. I will say the important part of this case over here is there's no kavana to do damage. right? There's no intention ultimately again to go ahead and damage the person. But yet the wall fell down, killed the person. Next case, that's case number one. Case number say what? A person, the shar had in mind to kill another animal, but ended up killing a person. Now, we'll discuss how exactly you gauge a shar's kavanah. We'll discuss that. But the kavanah, its intent was to kill another animal, but a person got in the way. Killed the person. Next case. L'knani v'harag ben Yisrael. The shar had an intention to kill a Knani, a Gentile, and accidentally killed the Jew. The Niffalim, or it was going to kill a fetus, v'harag ben Kamma, and instead went ahead and killed Ben Kamma. Ben Kamma means a viable human being. Potter. Listen, I want to be clear on this. They don't infer from this Mishnah that a fetus is considered to be in halacha a non-viable entity. We'll discuss. Well, we're going to spend a lot of time in terms of the status of a child in utero. We're going to talk it from the Shar's perspective, but we're going to learn about it. In any event, in all the cases of all side, Potter. Also, it's common denominator of all the cases in the Mishnah. Common denominator is all of these cases lack intent. So in all of these cases, someone was killed, but the shor never had intention to kill the ultimate victim. So the Gemara says, Amar Shmuel, Pater Misa v'chai b'kofer. So we'll say, so now the Gemara is going to present the machlokes as to what the Mishnah means when it says Pater. So Shmuel says that the shor is Pater from death, meaning the shor is not executed. Remember, we learned in the previous Mishnah that whenever a shor kills someone, whether it's a tam or whether it's a muad, the shor is always executed. So what is it when the Mishnah says over here that the shor is pater? Shmuel says it means that the shor is pater from execution. It's not executed, but the owner is chayiv to pay kofer. The Rav said, pater mizeh umizeh. Rav said that ultimately, again, the owner of the shor is pater from both from misa as well as kofer. Va'amai, so the Gemara says, why would this be true? Why would there be a chiyuv b'kofer? Ha-tamhu. Remember, we just said before, when do you pay kofer? Bepashas, you only pay kofer, and the animal is a muad. So again, ha-tamhu. The assumption over here in this Mishnah is, why would we assume Mishnah talking about a muad? We would assume over here the Mishnah is talking about a tam. Kida amar Rav. So we'll say, so if it's a tam, why would Shmuel say that the owner would be chayav in kofer? Oh, kida amar Rav. We'll say, listen to this. Bemuad lipol al b'nei adam bebora. So remember, we saw in earlier in this week, and also I think in the end of last week, that we think about muad, we often thought about muad in a very narrow sense. That what's the definition of muad? An animal that gores 3 times. Remember we saw that you could become muad for different types of behaviors. So the Gemara says, so let's say, for example, you could have, we'll see later on, we'll actually see this in a few days from now, you could have a situation, let's say, where an animal fell into a bar and crushed a person. So let's say you have an animal that fell into a bar 3 times, and every single time it falls into a bar, there's some unfortunate guy in the bar who it kills. So you could have an animal that is muad to fall into boros and kill people. Now, what exactly that means? What that means is that creates a heightened responsibility on the owner to watch his animal around boros, right? Around boros. So you could have an animal that is muad for a specific activity. Hachanami, so to be, what is the Mishnah talking about? Bemuad lischachech al bnei adam biksalim. Both say this shar is a habitual offender. What happened? 3 times already, he scratched himself against walls, and every single time he scratches himself against the wall, what happens? He knocks on the wall and kills a person. So he's a muad for scratching himself on walls, knocking them down and killing people. So the Gemara says, and therefore again, that's why Shmuel could say that although the shar is pater from being executed because the shar didn't have intent to kill, but the owner will be chayiv kofer because ultimately again the shar is a muad. To which the Gemara says, Yahachi bak talahu. But one second, if that's the case that the animal is a muad to go ahead and kill people with the wall, then lamaisa, why isn't the animal put to death? Right? Meaning, if the animal is a muad to kill people by scratching itself against walls and pushing down walls on people, then lamaisa, if the animal is a muad for that, the animal should be executed. So bishlam hasam the chazirok of a nafal. So let's say, see, in the case of the bar, we understand why the animal, even though the animal becomes a muad, ultimately, again, to fall into the pit and to crush people and to kill them, so that shor is not going to be executed. Why? Because we can see that there's a certain ones element. What's the ones element? That what brings the shor next to the bar? What brings him to the bar? There's some vegetation there. So he's eating some vegetation. He's not aware of his surroundings. And what happens? He falls into the pit. Elahacha, my ikalamemar. So we'll say, but over here again, the fact that the shor is knocking over the wall 3 times, is that not some element of aggression that should make the shor chayiv misa? Because I will say the case over here is where the shor is not pushing against the wall with the intent to go ahead and push it down, but rather the intention of the shor was what? To scratch itself against the wall. So asks the Gemara a very interesting question, and Al-Bayr, tell me, how do you tell the difference between a shor that is pushing up against the wall to scratch itself versus a shor that is exhibiting more aggressive behavior to actively knock down a wall? I mean, how exactly do you gauge that? To which the Gemara says, I'll say, how do you see it? That even after the wall falls down, the shor is still scratching itself against the stones. In other words, what does that mean? If the shor's behavior was just aggressive in nature, and the intention was what? To knock it down, then Lamaisa, what would happen? The shor, once it knocked down, the shor would be done. But the fact that the shor continues to scratch itself against the stones, even after what? Even after the wall falls down, indicates us that this was not an act of aggression, but rather what? This was an act of hanno. So you're going to say, Va'akati amudveis. Va'akati tzroros nenu. Oh, so asks the Gemara, but 1 second. So why shouldn't this be a case of tzroros? So we'll say the idea over here is if the animal is knocking down the wall. So Pashas, what happens? Let's envision how this happens. There's a wall. The animal comes over, it's scratching itself against it. What happens? The wall falls down. The stones go and hit the person. So that's the case of Soros. So we'll say, right? That's the case of why is it any different than the animal kicking up the pebbles and one of those pebbles going ahead and killing the person like that? Now we'll say if it's kofar, look at Rashi, Tap Rashi on Amud Beis, V'akati itzros nenu, ve'in kofar kasav ela b'negicha. To have a gufo mamish. And both say the halacha is that kofar only applies in a case of negicha. Kofar only applies in a case of goring. So the Gemara says, at most Shmuel, how can you possibly say that shechayiv in kofar? At most, this is going to be a case of tzroros. Amrad Mari Breid Rav Kana Dika'azal Mine. Both say the case ultimately is where the animal actively pushes down the wall until the point where it topples on the person. In other words, I will say, at first we envision that the animal is scratching itself against the wall, and the wall just falls down. No, here the animal is scratching itself and continues to push against the wall until the wall actively falls upon the person. Therefore, we'll say, what is that called? That's called kocho. That's called the actual koach of the animal, and not a koach of tzroros. Tanya Kava say the Shmuel utiyufta derab. So we'll say, so now we have a brisa that supports Shmuel and refutes Rav. Now, both remember. So what's the machlokes Rav and Shmuel? So remember again, the Mishnah said that essentially, if a shor kills someone unintendedly, right? The shor doesn't have intention to kill. So Shmuel said you're pater from Misa, but you're chayiv in Kofer. And Rav said you're pater even from Kofer. So machlokes Rav and Shmuel says you're chayiv in Kofer. Rav says you're pater from Kofer. So again, and the machlokes is about a case where there was no intention on the part of the shor to kill. So the Gemara now says you have a brisa that supports Shmuel and refutes Rav. So let's do this brisa. Use a long brisa. Yesh chayiv misa uba Kofer. So we'll say there are some cases where the animal will be chayiv misa and Kofer. The yesh chayiv kofer upater misa. And there are some cases where it will be chayiv in kofer and pater from misa. V'yesh chayiv misa upater min kofer. There are some cases where you chayiv misa pater in kofer. V'yesh pater misa umizeh. And there are some cases where you are pater from everything. Now we're going to go through each of the cases. It's a beautiful brisa. Ha ketzad. So we'll say, so what's the case? Ha ketzad. Muad bikavana. Right. So we'll say ultimately again. If ultimately muad, so the cases where the animal is a muad, bikavana, and the muad animal killed someone with kavana, or killed someone with kavana, chayiv b'misa u'b'kofer. So we'll say the simple case. You have a muad animal that killed someone with kavana, with intention. So the halacha is that shor is chayiv, misa, and kofer. Good. Case number 1. Next, muad shalo b'kavana. So we'll say, next case, what happens if you have an animal that is muad, but now the animal kills again, but doesn't kill b'kavana, right? It doesn't have an intention to kill. So we'll say, so what's the halacha? Chayiv b'kofer. So ultimately, again, we'll say, here you have what? You have a case of a muad shelo b'kavana. The animal is muad, but it's killing again without kavana. Chayiv b'kofer. The animal is chayiv b'kofer. upater ultimately mimisa. So we'll say, even before we go on, by the way, here it is. Here is the brisa that supports Shmuel and refutes Rav. Because what did the brisa just say? You have a case of a muad who killed without kavana. That's the case of the Mishnah. The case of the Mishnah is a muad who killed without kavana. The Mishnah said pater. Shmuel said pater means what? Pater mimisa, but what? Chayiv b'kofer. Rav said you even pater from kofer. What did the brisa just say? The brisa just said that if you're a muad that killed without kavana, you are chayiv b'kofer pater mimisa, passing like who? Passing like Shmuel against Rav. So we'll say that's the reason why the Gemara brought this brisa. We're done with that piece, but the brisa then goes on. Tam b'kavana, because it's a great brisa. Tam b'kavana was if you have an animal that's a tam that killed with kavana. So chayiv in misa pater mikofer. So chayiv in misa and pater from kofer. Tam shelo b'kavana. We'll say if a tam killed someone shelo b'kavana, pater mizeh umizeh. Ultimately, again, you'll be pater both from kofer as well as from misa. We'll say, so now, up until now, we've been speaking about cases where the animal kills someone. What happens if instead of killing someone, the animal injures someone? So if injury is visited upon a person without intention, Rabbi Yehuda mechayiv, Rabbi Shimon poter. Rabbi Yehuda says that you're chayiv, and Rabbi Shimon ultimately says that you're pater. Now, we'll take a look at Rashi for just a moment. Rashi says, "V'hani zakin shehizik sharp shelo b'kavana v'lohar." So we'll say, up until now, the first part of the brisa was talking all about death, where the shar itself causes the death of another person, and we distinguish between all the various cases. What happens if instead of causing death, the shar goes ahead and causes damage? So what happens ultimately again if the shor goes out and damages someone without kavana? Rabbi Yehuda says you're chayiv, Rabbi Shimon says you're pater. My time with Rabbi Yehuda. Why does Rabbi Yehuda say that if a shor damages someone shelo b'kavana, ultimately the shor will be chayiv? Why is that? So the Gemara says yolif mi kufro. We learn it out from kofer. Ma kofro shelo b'kavana chayiv. But see, when it comes to kofer, if an animal kills someone, so even if it kills someone without kavana, there is still a chiyuv of kofer. Afhani zakin, bless you. Afhani zakin nami shelo b'kavana chayiv. So basically, Rabbi Yehuda learns that from kofer. Just like an animal is chayiv in kofer, whether or not the animal kills someone with kavana shelo b'kavana, so too again when it comes to nezikin, when it comes to damages, the animal is going to be chayiv for damages, whether those damages were committed b'kavana shelo b'kavana. Rabbi Shimon miktal the shar. Rabbi Shimon on the other hand learns out damages from cases where we execute the shar. Makatle shal b'kavana pater. So now we can execute the shor where the shor kills. Rabbi Shimon says like this: Makatle shal b'kavana pater. Just like if the shor kills someone shal b'kavana, the shor is pater. Af nizakin shal b'kavana pater. Ultimately, again, from the zikin also, if the shor kills someone if the shor damages someone shal b'kavana, it will be pater. Rabbi Yehuda nami nelef miktale. So we'll say, so Rabbi Yehuda learns it out ultimately from kofer. Why does he learn it out from kofer? Why doesn't he learn it out from killing? So the Gemara says, donin tashlumin tashlumin, vein donin tashlumin misa. Because Rabbi Yehuda would rather learn out the laws of payment from the laws of payment, and not the laws of payment from the laws of execution. Therefore, Rabbi Yehuda chooses to learn out the laws of damages of nezikin from the laws of kofer, because they're both financial restitution, and to say just like you're chayiv for kofer, even shelo b'kavana, even if the animal kills someone accidentally, so too you're going to be chayiv for damages shelo b'kavana as well, and not to learn it out from misa. Rabbi Shimon nami nelef mikofro. So why doesn't Rabbi Shimon also learn out from kofer? Donin chiyuvei dishar michiyuvei dishar. He wants to learn it out ultimately from one obligation of the shar, from another obligation of the shar. Lafuki kofer dechiyuvei debaylamu. Kofer, he says, is really a separate discussion. Kofer is not an obligation upon the shar, but rather kofer is an obligation upon the owner of the shar. Therefore, there's nothing to be learned out from this. So both say, so this actually ends off with an interesting machlokes. So on one hand, in the machlokes Rav and Shmuel, we actually paskin that when a shor kills someone without kavana, so the shor is not executed for that act, but there is a chiyuv of kofer. So a person has to, if my animal kills someone, I have to pay kofer whether my animal did that intentionally or unintentionally. The only nafkamina between if the shor did it intentionally or unintentionally is what? Is whether or not the shor is executed. If the shor did it intentionally, the kavana, the shor is executed. Unintentionally, the shar is not executed. That's how he passed in that case. However, again, in the case ultimately again of where the shar went ahead and did damages shelo b'kavana, ultimately again says the Gemara that's going to be the machlokes in Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. Says the Gemara weiter. So what was the next case? The shar had kavana to go ahead and kill an animal. You wanted to kill an animal, but instead accidentally killed the person. You're pater. The shar is pater. So what we can infer from that is the reason why the shar is pater is why? Because the shar had intention to kill another shar, and instead it ended up killing another person. That's why it's pater. But we can infer from that what? That if the shar had intention to kill a person, and then what? Person A, but ended up killing person B, the shar would be chayiv. In other words, that the only reason he's not chayiv in the Mishnah's case is because his original intention was to kill a shar, but yet he accidentally killed the person. That's where you're pater. But if his intention was to kill a person A, but instead killed person B, since the shar's intention was to kill a person, he'd be chayiv even if he didn't kill the person he had intended to. To which the Gemara says, Rabbi Shimon. Our Mishnah does not reflect the view of Rabbi Shimon. How so? The Gemara says, the Sanya Rabbi Shimon Omer, Afilu niskavin la'aro gzevar gezeh pater. Because Rabbi Shimon is of the opinion that if a shar had intention to kill person A, but ended up killing person B, according to Rabbi Shimon, ultimately you're pater. My time, Rabbi Shimon. What's Rabbi Shimon's logic? The Amar Kura, because the pasuk says, Hashar yisakel v'gam ba'alav yumas. The pasuk says that the shar shall be stoned, and the owner of the shar that killed shall also be put to death. Kimisas bailim kach misas hashar. The death of the owners is like the death of the shar. How so? Ma bailim ad mechavile. But it's just like a person is only chayiv if he kills someone. If what? If he does something kavana as well. Say if a person had a kavana to kill A, but accidentally killed B, instead, person is not chayiv for that act. Af shar nami ad mechavile. So to a shar is only chayiv until it kills someone with kavana. So therefore, according to Rav Shimon Abosai, if a shar had in mind to kill A, but accidentally killed B, the shar is not going to be chayiv for that. Ubailin gufay minala. So it says the Gemara, by the way, how do you know in general that by people that concept is true? How do you know by people that concept is true? That if a person goes ahead and wanted to kill A, but accidentally kills B, that he's not chayiv for that act. The Amar Krakas, the pasuk says, v'arav lo v'kam alov. Both say the pasuk says va'arav lo literally means like he waited for him, right? A premeditated act. He waited to kill him. Arav literally is like an ambush, but he waited for him. He laid a trap for him, and v'kam alov, he rose up upon him. Torah telling me that the only time a person is chayiv for killing another person is when Rabbosai, when it was intentional and premeditated. Ach yiskavein lo. The person is only chayiv if he kills the person whom he had kavana to kill. So therefore, I'm going to go say, according to Rabbi Shimon, that's according to Rabbi Shimon, if Reuven had in mind to kill A, but instead he kills B, Reuven is not chayiv for that act of killing B. That's not considered to be an act of bloodshed.
If you want to just kill A Jew,
so that's a difference. Whether or not you could have stam kavana. So I don't know what Rabbi Shimon would hold in that case. I don't know. This the Gemara says, "V'Rabbanan hai ba'arev lo ma'avdile." Was the first white line. What do the Rabbanan do with this pasuk of ba'arev lo? Amri debate Rabbi Yanai prat lezorik even lego. So according to Rabbanan, we'll say this pasuk of the ba'arev lo v'kamalov comes to exclude a case of where a person throws a rock into a crowd. We'll say if a person throws a rock into a crowd and kills someone, they're not chayiv for that act. Says the Gemara, one second, Hechidami, what's the case? In other words, what's the crowd? So the Gemara says, if you want to say that there are 9 Gentiles and 1 Jew among them, fine. I understand. So also I understand why a person won't be chayiv in that case. Why? Because the majority of people there are Gentiles, and a Jew is not chayiv execution for killing a Gentile. So if the majority of people there ultimately again are Gentiles and 1 Jew, there's a rove. And therefore what? Inami palgu palga. Even if you want to say it's half Jews, half Gentiles, Safek nefashas lahakel. We'll say we are generally lenient when it comes to matters of execution. So the Gemara says, "Lo tzricha deikatisha Yisrael and ve'echad Kanani." We'll say, what's the case of where there are 9 Jews and 1 Gentile among them? Da'afagav diruba Yisrael minhu. Even the majority of the people there are Jews, and therefore I would have thought that when I throw a rock into that crowd, I should definitely be chayiv. Kevan diika chada kinani beinayu habide kavua. We'll say now, without getting into this concept too much, although we'll spend more time on it later. There's a concept of kol dirumba miruba parish and kol kavua kamechta mechta dami, which means the following: whenever something emerges from a group, ultimately, again, we go after the majority. However, when a suffix is created in the original place of origin of the item, we look at that item as fixed, and when an item is fixed, it creates a kavua 50-50. So, for example, the paradigmatic example of this is, a person finds a piece of meat in the street. So can I eat the meat? I find a beautiful steak, mamish, in the street. Can I eat it? So what's the halacha? On a very simple level, it depends. What does it depend on? How many butcher shop? What's the butcher shop story in the town? Say, for argument's sake, there are 9 kosher butchers and 1 non-kosher butcher. So what's the halacha? We go after Rove, and I could eat the steak. However, let's say I went into a store and I bought a piece of meat. But what? I'm not sure which store I went into. In other words, let's say all the butcher shops are on one row. And I know I went into a store, but I don't know which store I went into. So I will say, so there the halacha says, kol kavua, in that case, because I created the suffix by going to the item, as opposed to the item coming to me, that's kemechta mechta damya. That's ultimately like a 50-50 possibility, and therefore will have to be machmir in that case. Therefore, the Gemara says over here, that even in a case where you have 9 Gentiles and 1 Jew, 9 Jews and 1 Gentile. So I throw a rock into that group. I'm for sure chayiv in that case because it's a majority of Jews in that group. Since the Gentile is fixed in the group, it becomes kemechza al mechza damya. It becomes like a 50-50. And therefore, again, first I said number 1 is considered like mechza al mechza, 50-50 Jews, Gentiles. Couple that with the fact that what? Safek nefashos lahakel. Ultimately, we deal with capital cases leniently. You put it all together, and what? And lemaisa, again, we would not execute a person for that. So to bring this all together, essentially what the Gemara is saying is the following. The Gemara is saying that our Mishnah reflects the view, or does not reflect the view of Rabbi Shimon. Because according to our Mishnah, the shar is pater in the case of where the shar had intention to kill a shar, but accidentally ended up killing a person. In that case, the shar is pater. Pater we defined as what according to Shmuel? Pater from Misa, but chayiv and kofer. But it's clear from our Mishnah that if the shor had intention to kill person A, but killed person B, that the shor would be chayiv misa in that case, as well as kofer. And the reason for that is because once the shor has demonstrated kavanah to kill a person, that's all we need to execute a shor. The Mishnah Gemara just points out, our Mishnah does not reflect the view of Rabbi Shimon. Because Rabbi Shimon is of the opinion that if you had intention to kill person A, but you killed person B, you would not be chayiv for that. According to the Rabbanon, you would be chayiv for that. Their machlokes is based on a pasuk. Va'arav lo v'kama lov, right? You laid an ambush, you laid a plant trap for him, and you rose up upon him. Rabbi Shimon says you're only chayiv if you killed the person you intended to. What did the Rabbanon use that pasuk for? The Rabbanon come teaching that even if I throw a rock into a group of people, even if there are 9 Yisraelim and 1 Jew, 1 non-Jew, 9 Yisraelim and 1 non-Jew, I'm not chayiv even if that rock ends up killing a Jew. Why? Because kol kavod kamechza mechza damya, it's as if it's 50-50. Safek nefashos lahakel. And va'arav lo v'kamalav means I'm only chayiv for cases where there is specific intent. Right, so we have to stop over here. I'm going to record Emirat Hashem from this Mishnah to the next Mishnah later on today. So just watch out for that recording, and we'll pick up at the bottom Mishnah Emirat Hashem tomorrow. Shkoyach. Seems to be a theme. Correct.